Today we're going to be talking about process documentation, and I'm going to be covering two of the tools that we have available for documenting processes. Um, in addition to that, I'm going to be talking about some AI tools that we have integrations with that you can use for documentation. A couple tools that I think are pretty fantastic, and I'll just be demoing those for you and showing you how easy they are to use inside of TouchStone. Before we dive into that, I just want to do a recap of how far we've come. So we started in the first session talking about listing and naming all the processes and the four key functions. Um, Before I show you that, you're looking at the dashboard right now. And in this session, I'm going to be looping back and forth from the dashboard, kind of showing you a little bit about how the dashboard is used. If you're new to TouchStone, I think the important thing for you to know now is the dashboard is where your processes are used. It's where your employees go to view them for training purposes, for ongoing training. It's where managers go here to assign processes and track what their employees are doing. The using of the processes is the whole point. And the dashboard is full of features and functionality that allows you to use and manage processes. What you can't do on the dashboard is edit and change things. So it's only where the processes are used. So let's go to the left here to the navigation. I'm going to click on four key functions. So the first session we went through was about the four key functions, and we talked about listing out processes in the four key functions. So these are the four main areas in your business. It's an outline of all of the processes organized into categories like these, and the processes are listed. Then we discussed the organization chart, which is a picture of all of your people. It's the roles. It's the positions. Organized by department. So listing out all of your positions now and in the future, using it as an opportunity to reorganize where the positions are managed, what the hierarchy is, but creating this organization chart, this visual picture of your business now and in the future. And then what we do is link the processes from the four key functions over here to these boxes on the chart, which makes a process list. So all of these processes you're seeing here live on the four key functions in one place or another, and they've just been linked to this role using this tool or this tool. So every process that's listed in the four key functions is then assigned to a role on the org chart or multiple roles, and that creates these nice, simple process list, which is a complete description and or list of what this position is accountable for. Now we're going to talk about documenting the processes. So I'm going to go here to the four key functions, and I've organized a few processes here that we're going to discuss. I just want to make the point that I don't recommend that you build your sub-functions with these titles. I'm just doing this for example purposes for you to see and be able to track what we're going through. You want your sub-functions to be subjects like customer service or production, not organized by the type of tool they were used to document with. There's a little handout that I've put into the chat field inside of the chat box in Zoom that you all can download. But I'm just going to go over it quickly here so this all makes a little bit more sense. So there are different tools that we recommend for helping you use AI to document your processes. And I want to talk about those tools just in this outline format and then talk about when to use what type of tool. ChatGPT has been built into TouchStone, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. But basically, you want to use ChatGPT when you're documenting a process that's text-based. So it's task-driven. It's general knowledge. ChatGPT works the best when it's pulling from something, information, that's simply put, information that already exists or has already been developed. So general knowledge, things that are standardized, written instructions. So the types of SOPs that this is good for are general business procedures, software how-tos, particularly when the software is something that's widely known and used. Policy and compliance documents, customer service information, scripting, how to handle complaints. So kind of things that are general business knowledge, again, that are used in many different industries and for many, many years. Anytime you want a checklist or a template, GPT is great for that. The next type of tool that I'm going to highlight is called Scribe. So Scribe's a tool that will allow you to create click-by-click visual screenshots. The free version of Scribe, so their freeware, is fine for how you're going to be using it in TouchStone. If you want to do more fancy things with it, then you might need to upgrade it. But for what I'm going to be talking about, for today's purposes, the free version is fine for this. So you would sign up for a Scribe account, and then you'd be able to perform the functions that I'm going to show you. And then Scribe is simply with one click embedded into TouchStone and then used in TouchStone. So Scribe is great for step-by-step screen actions. So anything related to computers, where you can show a picture of how something's supposed to flow. It's ideal for like technical work or repeatable software workflows. System navigations, kind of showing how other software is put together. Form completion, so how to fill out certain forms and showing the different sections of those forms. Anything that's step heavy, so step 1, step 2 with pictures again and graphs or forms. Repetitive data entry tasks. So visual, click step by step. Loom is the next tool that I'm going to be demonstrating. And Loom is simply a video recording tool. Again, the free version of Loom is fine for what we're going to be doing in TouchStone. So what Loom does is it captures videos. So it's you talking as well as a picture of what it is you're talking about. So think of it as like a video, as opposed to Scribe, which is a step-by-step screenshots. Loom captures the whole experience. So it's going to capture you talking. It's going to capture whatever it is you're clicking on. So Loom is great when you need to give context to things. So I need to show how something's supposed to sound, or I need to get across a certain tone of what it is that I'm trying to explain. The flow matters, clicks and texts are important, but you also want some kind of personal explanation through somebody's voice. So Loom is great for explanations that need context. So a sales call, a proposal review, a performance review, anything management related where I'm teaching managers how to manage. So I'm talking, this is how you do a performance review. This is how it's supposed to sound. Training walkthroughs for new hires. So like your welcome to the company video, any like customer facing demos or tutorials. Complex workflows that have kind of judgment calls or nuance to them, where it's not just black and white, it's this or that. You have to do some if-thens and reasoning, and you can explain that really well in verbally. The last piece you're going to see here in this manual is just a little bit of advice on when AI won't work. So AI is great, but it doesn't work for everything. You're still going to have to get in and document some of your SOPs by typing out the tasks. So automation isn't great when you've got something that is custom. So it's hands-on technical work. It's consulting or services that you're delivering that are proprietary and only unique to you. Specialized workflows on ways that you have changed and edited things. Maybe when you do have an off-the-shelf software system that you're using, but you have changed it. So the regular workflow that ChatGPT might be able to generate doesn't work for you because you've changed the steps and how you do it. Anything that's judgment-based or internally unique. So I'm going to be giving you some examples of these types of things and showing you examples of all of them. But just be mindful that AI doesn't work for everything. Another thing I just want to add here is that you can start off with a manual SOP that you're writing out task by task and you're putting screenshots into. And then you can run that through like a chat GPT, or you can enhance it by doing a Loom video. So that's some way of like combining the two, where you've started off roughly with what you've written out on your own, or what the employee who knows how to do that work has written it out, and then you enhance it with some of the AI tools. Okay, let's move this out of the way. All right, so let's talk about Chat GPT first. So I've got this process here called safety. I think safety kind of fits that category of something that's typically general. It has a knowledge standardized base to it. So what you do to use the TouchStone Chat GPT tool is you go and build a work plan. If there's one work plan in this process, then the title of this one work plan can be the same as the title of the process itself. So safety here is a pretty general term. So you want to ask yourself, are there multiple types of safety? Are there multiple things related to safety that have different workflows related to them? So pick this apart a little bit and start by deciding what are the sections of this, and are there multiple workflows? So let's do an example. Let's call this office safety. So that would be one type of procedure you might need on how to stay safe in the office. Then maybe you would have warehouse safety. So how to stay safe when you're operating in the warehouse. And maybe you have vehicle safety, and maybe you have job site safety. So this is what I mean by think of what are the different types of safety that you need, company-wide. But here again, if you just have one set of safety standards, one series of steps that are followed related to safety, then you only need one work plan, and it's fine if it's the name of the title itself. So this is how you access ChatGPT or the AI within TouchStone. So I would click here. This has already been programmed. Um, so it is an agent already, where it is specifically searching for step-by-step task-driven SOP layouts for what it's going to produce. So it's already, we put this in here so that you realize that it's already programmed to create a step-by-step. So all we have to say is warehouse safety, and you can say your industry if you want. So the more detailed you are with the prompt, the better the result's going to be. Let's say for an HVAC company. And then you just hit go. The more detailed you are with the prompt, like I was saying, the better the results will be. If this returns results that aren't good or are just off track with what you were wanting, then you can go back and edit the prompt and change it, and then hit go again, and it will create different results. So you glance through. If this looks close, and my experience is AI gets you close, but it hardly ever gets you all the way there. In other words, I can't just use this as is typically. But if you're using the AI in the right category of SOP, like we talked about in the beginning, then it's likely that you're going to get some good results. So if you like this, you just hit add to work plan. So now what's happened is TouchStone has taken that step by step and built it into a work plan. So here's the step by step. Now, if you want to go and edit this and add to it or change it, you just click the text and it opens. So now I can go and edit and change and add to this text in any way that I need to make it work better for me. If you look at this once it's in and you're thinking, this is just kind of not even what I thought it was, it's not on track, I'd recommend that you go back to the AI and try again with the prompt, or maybe you started to write an SOP that you can't use AI for. it doesn't necessarily mean the AI doesn't work. It just means that this particular SOP that you're working with has got some customizations, or it's got some nuances to it that make it so it's not generalized information. And so then the same thing with warehouse safety. You choose that, you go back to the AI and you'd say, step by step for, I'm sorry, office safety, and then it would create you the office safety process. So let's go back here. We'll do another example, end of day. So this is generalized information. So these are things that would happen at the end of the day, or you could say an end of day to-do list. So same thing, you hit here and you say step by step for end of day in an office. But you can say in a law firm, in a dental office. So be specific with what your industry is. Again, you hit go. This is generally in this kind of process, it's going to pull, something that I think works pretty well. But again, you have to edit it. So then just add to work plan and then boom, there it is in a work plan. Okay, so let's go back here and let's talk about Scribe. So we said that Scribe is this screenshot tool that takes pictures as you click through and show how you're maneuvering through that software or filling out the form, whatever it is. So I'm going to go here first. So this is a step-by-step for how to do client intake. Step-by-step. We're going to take this piece of it, proposal and agreement, and create a scribe for it. So I took this piece, which is creating the proposal and the agreement, and I made a work plan here. So proposal and agreement. This is where you embed the scribe. So we'll come back to this in a second. So I'm going to be explaining how to create this proposal and this agreement in this step-by-step. So I'm going to go to this tool here. And I have Scribe in my extensions. So this is what Scribe looks like. When you have it in your Chrome extension, it really, it makes it super easy to use. So you're just going to hit Start Capture. Now Scribe is capturing my screen movements. So I would go here and say, the first thing we're going to do is enter the contact. You see over here, it's capturing this screen. Then I go View Contacts. It's intuitively typing out over here what I'm doing. So then I'm going to search for a contact. Hit search. So everything here to the right, it's typing out. So when you're finished, you hit complete capture. And I made it really short just because we don't have a whole lot of time to go through a bigger example. So now it's going to show you the scribe. When it's in this view, before you put it into TouchStone, you can make edits to it. So I could click, if this was wrong and I didn't want to say click contacts, I could change that. So all of this is editable. You might want to go type customer name. No, instead of putting my name. So you make any edits to it that you want. You hit done editing. Then all I do is go up to this share button and click share. And then I choose embed. Once you're in this view, you can have it appear as a scroll. So this scrolls up and down, which is I prefer the scroll. I think it's easier for people to read and go through. You could do a movie, which kind of turns it into a movie, or you could do slides, and the slides kind of shuffle left to right. So choose the viewing mode you want, and then you hit copy embed code. And now I go back to TouchStone. I hit the scribe button, and all I do is paste this in here. Simple, save. So now that scribe is embedded into the work plan. So it's showing it. So this is the, the flow version. If you did the slide version, it would go left to right. So this has taken all of my steps and my clicks and made them into a work plan. Now I can still go down here to tasks and I can add anything I want to this. Any context, I can make expectations. So you can still put tasks and expectations in if you need to. You probably wouldn't need to do tasks because the task, you can see it says click this text field and it shows the picture. But you might want some expectations, which would be just like general things that need to be thought about why this is happening. Then we could go here to this customer intake and click open this task. And then I can make a link to the scribe if I want to. So here's the hyperlink tool. I'm gonna hit the drop down. I go to work plans. Then I'm searching for proposals and agreements. And then hit insert, and then I save it. So now when somebody's looking at this intake work plan, if they want to see the step-by-step for how to do the proposal and agreement, they click here and it takes them right to this work plan. So this is Scribe. I think I have another example of Scribe. Maybe I don't. Google Calendar. This is a good kind of Scribe example. So scheduling appointments. So here's a Scribe. So this kind of Google Calendar falls into the category that we were talking about as really good for a Scribe, where it's pretty general knowledge base, click by click visual SOP. So it's gone through and shows you the step by step and how to do it. Okay, let's talk about Loom next. So Loom is video recording. So it's taking a movie of what you're doing. So again, Loom is good when there needs to be some context, some extra explanation. So I'm going to do a Loom video actually using TouchStone and demonstrating how you would create this training video teaching your HR people how to do onboarding, how to do new employee onboarding. So this is the process, new employee onboarding. So I'm going to start it here on the dashboard. And then I'm going to go to my Loom extension. And so I'm preparing myself to give this step-by-step video tutorial on how to do new employee onboarding. So you choose the window or the screen that you want to record. I'm going to do, I'll do full screen. You can have your picture appear in the bottom corner. Mine's turned off right now, but you can have your camera. And then you just hit start recording. Super easy. Now I'm sharing the screen that I wanted to record. It's giving me a countdown. So this is a video recording on how to onboard new employees. It's really important that our employees are onboarded in a great way because it really sets the stage for the impression they have of our business and gives them a really great training experience. So the first thing that you would do is go to the onboarding process. Click New Employee Onboarding and go right to the checklist. So these are the steps that you want to follow for onboarding. You can even open the checklist in another tab so you can have it kind of right alongside you as you go back and forth to TouchStone if that is better for you. So you open the checklist. First thing you're going to do is plan the employee's assignments for the first day. I'm going to tick this off. Then I go to TouchStone to the dashboard, choose the employee that I'm going to onboard. Sam's our newest employee. All of his work should be organized into training groups, week 1, week 2, week 3. So do that, drag and drop them into groups so that you plan out what he's going to learn in the first week. Then all you do is go back and assign him his first week's processes. Choose his position, choose the processes that he's going to learn in that first week, choose his name, give him this first week training date, and make any necessary notes and hit assign. Okay, I'm going to end it there, but you get the idea. So you walk through how you use TouchStone, how you use another tool, and you create this Loom video. You could see where when we did scribe, it was more basic step by step by step. Um, and there wasn't any room to kind of add any extra, this is how you do things, or this is why you're doing any kind of context or extra information. So the Loom obviously does all of that. So Loom kind of prepares itself here. You can go in and edit and enhance the video if you want. I'm not sure in the free version what it allows you to do. Um, but I know you can edit the videos in the free version. I don't know if these enhancements are you can use them or not. You can go to the transcript here and you can literally see a transcript of the th words that I was saying in the video. So in the interest of time, I'm going to just download this video. So I just downloaded it. Then I would just go back to TouchStone. And I'm going to go back to that new employee onboarding process. I go down to a video here and I say, and then all I do is drag and drop the video into this field. Let it go and it loads. And there it is. So then I could go to this new employee, or I could create a work plan or doing a step-by-step and then saying, watch this video. But there's the video. So this is Loom, and through Loom, you can make really easy, simple videos and then upload them to TouchStone. You can use other types of video screen recordings as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be Loom, but I feel like Loom is like really easy to use, and the free version does, it makes it that much simpler to drag and drop. But having said that, you could take your phone and you could record yourself saying something. You could have someone else hold the phone up and record you, and then drag and drop that video into TouchStone in the same way that we did here. Okay. So ChatGPT, Scribe, Loom, three fabulous tools. Having said all that, there's still a need to go in and create step-by-steps for a certain amount of your processes. So let's go to a process and let's talk about structuring a work plan is. So the work plan tool is right here at the top, and it is the tool you're going to use the most when you're documenting your processes. It's the tool that has the details, it has the tasks, it has all the information necessary for a person to learn how to do that work. The more detailed your work plans are, in my opinion, the better, as long as they're written simply. The end result you want to get to is that an employee can read this, study it, follow it, and they could learn how to do that work with very little training. I mean, that's ideal. Not all processes you can get to that result with, but a fair amount of them you can if you build good work plans. There are other tools inside of TouchStone for process documentation. There's a checklist tool. We have a scripting tool, which is for documenting verbal interactions. We have an uploaded files tool, which allows you to take documents, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF documents, and upload them to the process. You'd want to use this when there's any kind of information in those file formats that you don't want to change it for whatever reason. You want it to stay as an Excel spreadsheet, or you want it to stay as a PDF, then you would just upload that whole document. We have what's called the document tool, which is like a blank Word document. So it's a great place to kind of cut and paste information into, like a list or a set of standards or a set of objectives, things that don't necessarily fit into the work plan for whatever reason. We have a custom form tool. So this is the custom form tool. It's got these different table building features. So you can build this fillable form. You can build new employee tests in this. You can build forms that are fillable, and these are used on the dashboard. So your employees can literally log in, go to this form, and fill it out. We have a policy tool. So this documents important policies and rules about the process. We have the video upload, which you just saw. And then we have audio upload, which is an MP3 files. So today I'm going to finish out this session by talking extensively about work plans and checklists. So we're going to go through the details of all of that. And then next week, we're going to talk more about AI tools, and we're going to cover the rest of the tools inside of TouchStone. So I'll be giving you a detailed explanation of when and why and how to use these tools, how to decide if you need them or not. All right. So to build a work plan, all you do is hit the plus sign here, and you put in the name of the work plan, and you hit create. You saw me do that before. Pretty straightforward. The only trick here is you want to name things and you want to create work plans that represent workflows. They represent a series of tasks. So customer complaints is the name of the process. And if there were multiple parts to customer complaints, processing a complaint or customer complaint processing, and then filling out the complaint form, and then customer complaints that have to be escalated. So you want to think, what are the parts to this, if there are any? Sometimes processes have multiple parts, and sometimes they are just one series of tasks that all flow together. If you have one work plan and it is 100 tasks long, that is probably a sign that you should break it up into parts, because it's hard to learn 100 tasks long, and typically there are things that are happening that might allow you to break it apart. Once you've built a work plan, you can edit the title just by clicking on it like that, simple, and then hit save. You can put in an objective of the work plan. This is the purpose. Just like the objective of a process, this is the reason that this process exists, or I'm sorry, this work plan exists. If there's only one work plan in the process, like I said before, it could be called the name of the process. So this one work plan could be called customer complaints, and then the objective of the work plan is the same as the objective of the process. But if there are multiple work plans, then the names are going to be different of the work plans, and the purpose is going to be different. This is the AI. So if you think you can use AI for this, or you want to try it, then click this icon. This is the scribe embed, which you would know that you're going to do a scribe for. By the way, right here, you can click and set up an account, or you can go directly to their website, either way. This icon will turn a work plan into a checklist. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. But that's a pretty cool tool, because it can build you a quality control work plan right out of checklist right out of your work plan. This icon allows you to move a tool, any tool, in this case a work plan, out of this process into another one. So if I want to combine two processes, or I want to pull them apart, I could use this tool to move a process out and into another, move a work plan out into another process. This is our export or print feature. This is the archive. So archive is like version control. It allows you to keep copies of your documentation. So if you have an existing process, work plan, checklist, any tool, and you want to edit it or change it, or you've delegated it to someone else to edit or change, it's always a good idea to archive it first. So you just hit archive, you say, okay, now it puts a copy of this into the archive, which I can access over here. This is delete, so that removes the tool in its entirety. Only admin users can delete TouchStone wide, but on a process that a create user has access to, they can delete tools inside of it. But having said that, you can always restore them by going to this deleted area. So only admin users can delete entire processes, but create users, which is the next level of access next to admin, can delete tools, but they can always be restored. So if you're starting to build a work plan, all you're going to do is hit add task, and then this is task 1. So this is the first step. When you spell out that step, you hit save. Then you're going to go to the next step. add task, click, this is step 2, and save. This is methodically forcing you into a step by step by step, which is the best way to approach documentation. You think about what's the first thing you do, what's the second thing, what's the third thing. You don't want to think in run-on sentences. You want to think step by step by step. So it's coaching you to go, okay, step 1, how does that begin and end? Then step 2. This toolbar is very similar to most word processing. You can drag and drop images into this field. So if I wanted to take a picture of something, like maybe this, I would go to my snipping tool. And all Windows operating systems have snipping tools, I think Mac too. You just hit new, then you're going to highlight this piece. So that becomes your image. Then you can draw lines on it. You can put comments on it. And then you put your cursor in the field where you want that image to go, and you just paste it in. Or you can drag and drop it using this tool, or you can drag and drop from your downloads, and then it kind of looks like that. Once the picture's in TouchStone, if I click on it, I see the edges, and I could take it and pull it in and make it bigger or smaller. So image uploader. There's also a hyperlink tool, which is this right here. So if I want to make a hyperlink, I highlight, and then I go to the link tool, and now I hit the drop down. A URL is the first type of link. So this would be if I want to link to something that lives on the internet, like Loom. In that case, I would choose URL link. And then what I like to do is go to that tool and just highlight the URL, and then go back to TouchStone. Oops. And paste it in here. So then you have the exact URL you're looking for. You hit insert. And then when you save, it highlights and will take you to that website or that web page. So this is the way that TouchStone connects to other tools, by the way. So this is now linking to Loom. As long as I'm past the username and password screen of Loom, this is going to take me right to it. I can also link to another software, your production management software, your CRM, your accounting software. As long as it lives on the internet, all you do is take the URL, paste it, and then it creates it into this link. So I can say things like, click here to go to enter an invoice, and they click and it takes me right to that screen. You can also make hyperlinks to things inside of TouchStone. So if you want to link from one work plan to a process, I choose processes, I hit the drop down. Now these are all my processes in TouchStone in alphabetical order. I choose the one I want to link to or hit insert. Or you can link to tools inside of a process. So I could link from this work plan to another work plan, or from this work plan to a checklist. I could say, fill out this checklist and then link it to the checklist, or use this script and then link it to the script. Watch this video and then link it to the video. So these hyperlinks are showing the relationships between your processes. And I'm going to talk more about hyperlinks as we get into the other tools. But just roughly, these hyperlinks, they show integrations into your other tools that you use. So point to specific things or places that the employee would go when they're learning this. And then it also shows the relationships between what they're learning and other things that are in TouchStone. So I'm going to hit save on this. So let's go to this work plan and let's talk about what makes a good work plan and what makes a terrible work plan. First thing, when you're titling things, I think it's always better to put the subject first and the verb or the adjective second. So rather than saying processing a customer complaint, I would probably say customer complaint processing, and you don't have to do the little slash if you don't want to, like that, instead of the adjective or verb first. And that's just because when my eye is glancing through things, I'm searching for things using the search, or I'm looking through it, I'm going to think customer complaint. I'm not going to think processing. So it's about a location thing having to do with the way you view things, but then it's also searching. If I put customer complaint into the search over here, it's going to pull it up, even though it's starting with processing. But it's just kind of visually a better way for our brains to kind of spot something quickly. Let's talk about tasks. So when I see a task in a work plan that looks like this, I immediately know that there's a problem. The problem is it's too many run-on sentences together. I don't even have to read and I already know that. Um, Whoever wrote this is thinking in a story, like they're telling a story about what's happening here, rather than listing out the work clearly and methodically. So when you're creating the tasks, you want to think step by step, sub-step of that outline instead of narrative. You also want to consider the minimum competency of the person who's going to be reading this. And I think this is where ChatGPT goes wrong sometimes. If you make things too complicated, it's harder for people to understand. I know it sounds funny, but it's true, and we do it all the time. So oversimplify, but not too much. Speak the language of the person who's going to be operating this. So in ChatGPT, and I don't know if I mentioned this, in the AI generate work plan, you can say the tone that you want it to have if that's important. Or you can change the tone once it's added. So this says when a customer calls, emails, or comes in with a complaint, you should, before doing anything else, make sure you get their information, like their name, phone number, email, address, because you see, it's like this run-on over explanation. I can't follow this, right? It's not a step by step. It's complicated to understand. So let's change it. When the customer calls, emails, or comes in with a complaint, is it important to know that the customer is the different ways that the complaint comes in? If the answer is yes, then you can change it to complaints come in different ways. And then do a line there, and then start to make bullets out of it. And all you do is bullet it like that. So that would be one idea. Or if you're looking at this and it's not really important that you explain the way the complaints come in, maybe this is completely unnecessary to say. So you want to get rid of all this and start with what they need to collect from the person. So delete it to here and say, gather the client's info. Then do bullet point and say their name, phone number. So I'm making a bulleted list of these items, anything after the comma. So you have to go through and edit these. Then a hint is everything after the comma could fall into a bullet. So that's kind of changed it. You could even do sub bullets by tabbing in, and now this becomes a sub bullet. So think again of bulleted outlines, gather the following information. When I'm looking at this more, it's saying, because without this, you might not be able to follow up. Is that really important to say? Is it necessary for you to explain to the person doing this that if they don't have this information, they can't follow up? I'd probably say no. That's like an over explanation, perhaps. Ask politely, write down somewhere on paper or the computer or whatever is easiest at the time. So refrain from using instructions like this. Whatever's easier for you, whatever's in front of you, paper or computer. Decide what is the best way. Is it to type it into the computer? Is it to write it onto a contact log? So when you see anything like this is a sign of whoever documented this is kind of used to doing it any way that's the most convenient for them. And there is the best way. So this is a chance to maybe innovate the way people are doing things and decide what is the correct way to do it. Are we going to enter it into the CRM? Are we going to write it on a contact log? If we don't have a contact log, well, maybe we need to invent one so that they're not on sticky notes all over the place. So you get the idea. So you're taking these kind of big, complicated paragraphs and narratives and making them more into clear step-by-steps. Let's look at this one. Locate the customer's invoice. The invoice will be in the CRM under the customer's name. If you can't find it by name, look up their email address, or project date. So the first thing I see here is somebody's like decided to highlight this word. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. The only thing that I see wrong with it is that whoever's style it was to highlight this word may not be the style of everybody. So you're going to have some of your work plans with highlights and underlines like this right here, or things bolded or things made red. And then other work plans that another person did aren't going to be that way. So I would stick with like normal writing convention. So capital first letter of every word, period, bullet points, sub-bullet points, and no extra nuances to this. Unless you've decided, company-wide, you're going to bullet and make red to emphasize. So locate the customer's invoice. The invoice will be in the CRM under the customer's name. So this I would probably change, locate the customer's invoice, and you could say, put a bullet point here maybe and say, in CRM, and then I could even, it's bulleting everything, and then I could even highlight this and go to the hyperlink tool and link directly to the CRM. And then you could say, look under the customer's name, could be the second section. If you can't find it by name, that's not spelled right, look up their email address. So again, this could be bullets and sub-bullets. So look under email address, or phone number. So suddenly we're taking this kind of weird run-on sentence and we're turning it into more of like a bulleted, straightforward step-by-step that I can follow and see. Number 3, if this is a warranty issue, follow the warranty and guarantee policy. Well, that sounds important. There's a policy down here called the warranty and guarantee policy. So I would hyperlink this right here. First of all, I would get rid of this underline because I think that's unnecessary. And then I could highlight this and go to the hyperlink tool and link it to this policy. Now, if the policy doesn't exist and you're saying, if it is a warranty issue, make it a warranty issue, that might be a sign that how do they know it's a warranty issue? And so that might be an area where more information is needed. And then that leads you to, well, maybe we need a policy for the warranty or guarantee, or maybe there needs to be a whole nother process on how to determine if something's a warranty or a guarantee. Or maybe we need another work plan up here that explains how to decide if something's a warranty or a guarantee. So oftentimes a task could lead you to another process that might be missing. So look out for opportunities like that as well. This is task 4. If this is not a warranty issue, it's an employee issue or a job done poorly, talk to the customer and understand the real problem. Ask them what happened and what they think should be done about it. Say it in a sympathetic tone. Try to understand. So what this reads to me like is a script. So you can sit in a task and explain what to say and how to say it and when to say it, but it becomes, again, kind of like this run-on series of sentences, which it's really hard to interpret. It's really hard to for someone to memorize this and kind of know what to do. You can say, speak in a sympathetic tone. Do they know what you mean by that? Do they need more information than that in order to understand how to do that? So anytime you're starting to talk about what is said, then think of using the scripting tool. So over here, I've got an example script. So this is what the script template looks like. And we're going to talk more about this in the next session. The prompt is what's being said, greeting. Hi, I received your request. Let's talk about the situation. Prompt, ask for their version of the situation. Listen. Or you could say, ask for their version of the situation. Listen and respond with a sympathetic tone. And then here you say, can you tell me what happened? Gosh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Let's fix it. So the script is what's being said. The prompt is why they're saying it, in what situation. Confirm that you understand the issue. So this is just good communication style. Like, oh, okay, let me repeat back to you what I heard you say, just to make sure I totally understand you. So you're giving your people the words to use right here. If the customer's complaining that it took, so you get the idea. You go through and build this script, and suddenly we've turned this task here, which is a big run-on sentence, to something much cleaner because we built this really cool script, and we can say, if not a warranty issue, use the script. And then same idea, I highlight this, and then I hit the link chain, hit the drop down here, I got a script. I'm looking for the providing a solution script. I hit insert, I save it, and so now that's much cleaner. So the work plan is focusing on the steps, the step by step by step. It's not going into elaborate detail of what to say and all the FAQs and how to do all that. That's better shown in a script. So you click the script, and this is going right to this really clean, laid out training tool on how you provide this solution in a customer complaint. If this is a warranty issue, proceed to complete a customer complaint form. So this form is built right here inside a TouchStone, or it could be a link to your project management tool that has your own customer complaint form. Just another note here, if it's important that the customer complaint form is filled out in a certain way, then here's an opportunity for maybe a scribe video on how to complete the customer complaint form. So if I wanted to do that, I'd go up here and I'd create a work plan, and I'd call it customer complaint form completion. I'd go and pull up this customer complaint form. I'd open up scribe over here. I'd say start capture. And instead of struggling with the tasks of this, I'd start to say, okay, this is the customer complaint form. I click here to fill out each of these sections. Maybe this is better a video, but you get the idea. It's building a scribe with the capture over here. And then once you're finished this screenshotted step-by-step capture, then I could simply go back to TouchStone and then go to the work plan and embed it. So now we've turned, this work plan here, the step-by-step on customer complaints, into something that's also using one of our AI tools, and that's embedded into the process. With scripts, by the way, there's this tool right here, an audio tool, and you can build MP3 files on how things are supposed to sound or not sound. Not everything needs a video, so most of our cell phones nowadays have record apps that you can download. So you can do like a role play, or you could read through this script and have someone playing the customer, or you could say the prompt is the greeting, and then you speak the greeting how it's supposed to sound. And you can say, if they're ask for their version of the story, can you tell me? And so you're explaining the tone. Or you could do one that's how it's not supposed to sound, which I think is very clever, because you can tell people not to say things a certain way all day long, but until they actually hear how it sounds, they're not going to really get it and why it's important to do it in the way that you're saying. At the bottom of the script of the work plans, there's a second section called expectations. So the expectations are anything that's important about this work plan that isn't a part of the tasks. So isn't a part of the step-by-step. So it can be contextual things. It could be the why of it, why you do things in a certain way. It could be the reason behind it, the impact that it has on the company overall. Dealing with customer complaints effectively can save our reputation. That's a big, that's a big statement. So context, why it's important, any kind of elaboration on the why of it, um, put into your expectations. Timing can go in expectations, 24 hours, and why that's important. So again, anything that you can think of that isn't a part of the task that you've already iterated in the work plan, put into the expectation section. Okay, let's talk about checklists for a second in the time that we have left. So you can take a work plan and with one click, and this one's going to look messy because of all the messiness I put into the task, but if I click this icon, this will convert a work plan into a checklist. So you see now it's a checklist over here. It's still a work plan, but now it's been built into a checklist. It's literally taken the tasks and put tick boxes next to the tasks themselves. This is a nice feature when you need some quality control for the process. And all the quality control needs to be is a reassurance that the tasks have been followed. Checklists can be exported and printed and put on clipboards, although it's way better to use them on the dashboard. So through the dashboard, an employee can log in, they can go to the checklist and they can fill it out. And a manager can run a report of the checklist that the employee filled out. They can do this on their phones. So think about checklists as quality control, and you can turn a work plan into one to make that super simple, to have this deliberate ticking off as they do it. You can do a checklist for the first few months of training. So convert a work plan into a checklist and then have the employee ticking off the boxes just for the first week or 2 weeks until they really get it down, and then they don't need the checklist anymore. You can build a checklist that is separate from the work plan. So you just put in the title of the checklist. Cannot type today. And then hit create checklist. So now it's right here is my new checklist. If I want to build it, I just add checklist item, click this open. And so this is item 1, save. So you're building the box by box. You can also use the AI to come up with a checklist. So here, same idea, create a checklist for. This has been programmed to create checklists already. So you don't need to say create a checklist for, let's say, customer complaints. Let's see what it comes up with. This would have been good for the end of day process. So here's step by step, tick, hit add to checklist, and then you got this checklist instantly built. So this might not be the best process for to demonstrate the AI for checklists, but anything that speaks checklist, like it needs a checklist, that it's valuable for the employee to be filling that out every time that work is done, use the AI to see if you can come up with something that you can work with or to start with. If it can't be converted from the work plan, if it's something different from the tasks of the work plan, start with the AI to do that. And then again, if the AI doesn't work, then all you're doing is adding checklist items right here. So a few words about checklists. Don't make a checklist unless you're absolutely convinced and sure that you're going to use it. So if you make checklists and you don't insist that your employees use them and fill them out, then you're just creating busy work and you're creating examples of you trying to implement something and it not being important. So make a checklist only when you're going to insist that the employee use that. And what that means from the manager's point of view is that the manager needs to be running a report at least once a week and reviewing those checklists. Even if you run a report at the end of the week and you say, give me the checklist that all the salespeople did this week, and you hit run and you see that they're all there. Maybe you don't even look at them all, but you just see that they're all there. And if they're not there, then you go to the dashboard and you assign it. You say, you forgot your checklist. So a manager's got to be willing to do that work, to look at it once a week, once a month, whatever the sequence makes sense. And when one's missing, go directly to the employee, assign it through the dashboard and say, you missed your checklist. If the manager does that diligently, then everybody's going to fill out their checklists. I promise you. If the manager does that diligently, and if they reassign them, and if they reassign them and then they bring it up in the meeting and they say, hey, you noticed I reassigned you that checklist because I looked for it, it wasn't there. You're not going to have to do that many times before they get the fact that you're looking. It doesn't feel good if even if it's simply tick, tick, tick boxes doing something, and then you feel like you're doing it for no reason because nobody's looking anyway. So that's why they stopped doing it. So make sure it's something of the caliber of a high enough caliber that you need that checklist. And managers need checklists for a variety of reasons. One of the biggest reasons, I believe, is to manage things from afar. So to make sure that I know these people are doing what I'm telling them to do without me having to find a fire burning, get a complaint from a customer, get a complaint from another department, and then go to that person and say, wait a minute, this is what we talked about, what happened. It's better for me to know that they're filling out a checklist and then I can go look at the checklist. And if you make the checklist serious enough and you make them impactful enough, and there's really a good reason for them being there, then they'll be successful. So in the 1 minute we have left, let me just show you what some of that looks like that we went through on the dashboard here. So when the office manager logs in and goes to this new employee onboarding process, they're gonna see this video here for onboarding. And when they click it, they'll be able to play it and watch it. So from this view, when somebody's looking at the process and they see the scribe or they see the video, it's a much cleaned up version. It only has the tools that are used. Here's my onboarding checklist. Here's FAQ scripts. Here's the form that I fill out for new employees. And then here's my training video. It's very clean and put together. When you create a scribe or a Loom video, and then you want to assign it to an employee to use, you can go here to this assign button and you can choose the employee. You can choose the process that has the Loom or the scribe video in it. You can go down to that employee or group of employees and you can say, this is a new, and so you put in, this is a new scribe, this is a new step-by-step, I want you to take a look at it, and you hit assign. And then the employees get a notification saying, this is this new great Loom video that we just put in on how to do X, Y, and Z. Would you review it? They review it, they watch it, and they hit complete, and then you get notification back saying that it's been completed.